What the story say? Yeah, come in and sit down. Before there were cars, before there were phones, we walked everywhere. We walked on the dam. Dam is a road. We walked on the pathways, like the side of the road. We call that pa. Or people that say, take pa go. Pa. We walked on the roadside, that's beside the public road. We took shortcut. Shortcut is a passage or a path made by human feet or the feet of goats and cows. And it could be through someone's yard or it could be beside someone's fence, but it took you from one place in the village to another place. Children love that, we know that. And I think back and it brings nostalgia of childhood. Because if you go through shortcut by Shoreman and you would pass Miss Maisie Down Street, you know, you got to stop. And if you go through by Printer Williams, you get Tamarind Tree. You know, if you're from village, you know. These are ways we move through villages. Do you think of any physical way you go through villages? What are the names of the places you had to walk to get to places in the village? I think of where we went when we walked. We walked to school. I went to Bladen Hall Multilateral School. A mile away from the village. I walked in the morning, walked back at midday, walked back to school after lunch, walked back in the afternoon. Yeah, we walked a lot. If I were lucky, I would get a drop with Kanki. Kanki lived at Friendship back down side. And he used to drive the school tractor. So he would stop, we jump on, sit out on that fender thing, over the wheels, and we go to school. Dangerous, very dangerous, but we took the short drop. Walking to school was such a delight. We would walk on the line top. And Miss Rose had a house there, and Bess, you know, Bess that had hot food, he lived there too. That vigilance pasture was empty. Now it's highly populated, but we would walk and eat buru buru. We eat pap. We eat the thing from another tree, a little red flower. We would open it and take the nectar out of that. Any down's tree, guava tree, any tree was game for children. Piece of bed, everything we ate on the way to school. Yeah, remember? We walked to the shop. We walked to Saru shop and Harry shop and Mr. Newton shop and Abrams shop. All the shops, we walked to the shops. We walked to funerals. We walked all the way from the dead house to the burying ground. We walked to school concerts and graduations and party. We walked to the neighbor's house. We walked from Buxton back to Buxton front. That happening no more? Let me tell y'all, I went home. I walk in my good walk. I go up the seawall, because you know you got to walk up the seawall. And I walk on the seawall. And I coming down by my grandmother's place. When this Sullivan brother see me, you want a short drop? I say, buy me no one short drop, me want to walk the village. People not walking anymore, I think. As you walk, you meet people and you socialize. The last time I was there, Marlies and I went walking in the village. We boot up to Sister Yvette and we sit down at Marlies' bottom step. We sat at Marlies' bottom step with her mother and we gaff for good 2 hours. I don't know where Sister Yvette was going, but she hold out with us but to Brush Dam. We walked Brush Dam. And as we walked, we ran into Wendy Sullivan. We gaff a little bit. And then we run into Dolores Butler, childhood friend, and we reminisce about all the wickedness we used to do. Be careful. And then we bounce into Toyoy and he friends. Toyoy is a Rasta man. So we start to talk about bush and herbs and so on. Walking is a whole social life at play in Guyana. Gaff is old talk, is conversation on the spot. It could be anything, any topic for however long. Walking wasn't just social, like for meeting friends and so on. It was a way of communicating, it's a means of communicating. He said, before cars and phones, there was walking. We had this guy who was the bell crier, remember? He would get the bell and go through the village from street to street, dam to dam, from sideline to brush dam. Billing bang, notice! John Brown dead, funeral to be announced later. Billing bang. That was how it was done back in the day, by walking. That's what we call the spit press. Or as they say, you foot it. Yeah, we foot it a lot. But when we don't walk anymore, can you imagine the culture and values we lose? But then again, if we don't walk as much, maybe we gain something. And this is what we call the ambiguous loss. But I like to think that walking helps you to see people and people to see you. It's all about visibility. So when we talk about movement through the village, we're talking more about connections and something more than footsteps. We're talking about pathways towards our social development. So I want to say paths are more than where footsteps carried us. If you think about paths that you took, write it in the comments. Let me talk the thing and y'all walk good.